Table Talk, joined with Corey and Max. Unfortunately, Jack had to step away and not join us this evening. He had some other things going on, but we will be missing him tonight because we're actually going to be going over a study that he was part of called Exploring the Efficacy and Cognitive Behavioral Therapy and Role-Playing Games as an Intervention for Adults with Social Anxiety. Before we get into that, though, just a couple of quick announcements. The Birmingham, Alabama chapter decided that they weren't done having the representation for Alabama, and they're already working on helping another location develop a chapter in their local area within Alabama, and I believe it was which group was it?
They're going to set that state on fire at this point.
I know they've been doing an amazing job. I don't think we have it updated on our list yet, unfortunately, but there is another chapter coming in Alabama, so they're going strong. Same thing with Mesa, Arizona. They're doing a lot as well. Panther, welcome, man. And Crystal as well. I'll be scared the day Crystal never shows up to one of these things.
Right.
Try,
Send out the search dogs.
try not to delete his comment this time, Crystal.
Ouch. Too soon.
No.
Very nice, Crystal. Very nice. So yeah, more people are showing an interest in starting chapters up in their local areas. And if you are interested as well, feel free to reach out to us on Discord and we will help get you set up for that. Again, another announcement about our challenge coin. I'm not going to put the video up. I don't want people to just blare out in the focus of how cool the coin is, but there is a challenge coin that you can go to our Zephy link on Discord and under our announcements channel, and not going to put it, if maybe Crystal can help me out and put the link for it in the chat, but the challenge coin shipping is included, and I will get it out. We've had, I want to say, I think we're up to 12 people donate for a challenge coin already, which is awesome. And I want to say thank you for that.
I know one of my players at my table recently bought one as well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've got one order pending. Unfortunately, I won't be able to drop it off until Monday, but I will get it off. I'll get it out Monday, and I've already heard people have gotten it. Someone showed us a picture of it on their coin rack, and it's great to see.
It looks good.
Yeah,
I'm getting a stack of them when I get to Gen Con. I'm not paying all that shipping.
Yeah, no.
There you go. Mage got the link for anyone who's interested. Thank you, Mage. But no, it's a good coin. Between the people going to the shop and putting in the donations that way, and then we've had some in-person donations. Hey, Wolf Night Coffee, welcome. This is I met them at the Otaku Food Festival in Denton,
nice.
Texas. So it's great to see them here. Awesome. But yeah, so the coin is in our the link for it is right there for the coin. If you want to donate, the shipping cost is included. Everything is there, and I will get a coin sent out to you as soon as possible. Can't say immediately because that would be unrealistic. But other than that, Corey, you just had your first session last weekend, right? How did that go?
We had a session 0. Had some fun creating characters, and I inadvertently created a dice goblin.
Uh-oh.
I mean,
yeah, his wife is probably going to have some words with me in the next 6 months.
it's kind of a given, but all right.
I told him to be careful. I was like, dude, I got enough. We're good. No, I want my own. okay. First time playing, first any of it. He's like, talked to a bunch of his buddies, and he's like, no, they all told me I need to have my own lucky dice. I was, oh, this is gonna go so bad for this guy.
I mean, he's not wrong. He
No,
should-
no, he's not. But he walked right past. They've got, I'll call it 2 foot wide, 1.5 feet deep by a solid foot deep, just old treasure chest full of dice.
Mhm.
He stuck his hand in, and then he looked up, and there's the rack of just different displays. I was like, okay, he's doing it smart. He's doing it smart. And he looked up, and I went, oh no,
He found him.
oh no. And of course, he went swinging for the fences. He went and got the metal set right out of the gate.
Well,
And then he got,
but metal's not as bad as like gemstone. Let's just be honest there.
I didn't see any there, and
I would
I'm not
almost-
gonna mention it to him. So
I would almost prefer gemstone over metal. I'm just going to say it.
I agree with you, Max. I do think they're nicer, but they are more expensive for sure.
I don't think I've ever seen any. To be truthful. Great. Now I know what I'm buying next.
No,
Thanks, guys.
that's not on me. You don't tell your wife that I gave you that idea. I need that.
But no, all in all, it went great.
That's great. That's awesome to hear. I had another thing. So if y'all don't know, Frank, one of our members in our Roll to Heal community, he's part of a podcast group called the D20 Misfits, and they're actually hosting an event this weekend at their local game store all weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they're raising they're doing a fundraiser for Roll to Heal. So it would be disingenuous of me if I did not, give them an amazing shout out for D20 Misfits going above and beyond hosting this event and raising some money to donate to Roll to Heal. So big shout out to them.
Are they going to have any? Are they going to stream any of it? Any of that stuff?
I don't.
Or is it all just in person?
It's all in person. They were doing a Magic the Gathering tournament yesterday, and then today they were doing a Tomb of Annihilation event, which was pretty cool because there's like donation, like in person people can watch it and they can donate a certain amount to set off a trap, and the players
See, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, and then the players could like donate to stop the setting off of the trap, and then there was also like a donation to like revive, and then there's a special certificate that they crafted that is like a certificate of defeat of the Tomb of Annihilation. So they're gonna put the character's name on it, and then they told me that they were gonna tape them all to the wall and then take a picture of it. So I'm looking forward to see what that wall looks like when they're done.
Could you imagine outside influence on a game and being like,
I got $20 for I got
$5 donation? Yeah,
I'm in.
dude.
I just want to know that it was fun. That's all I want to know.
Yeah. Well,
I meant the trap that I sponsor.
Oh. I know. So me and Chris actually did an interview with two of their hosts for the event today. So they recorded everything, and they'll go through and edit it up and get it posted at some point. But all in all, like from everything I've seen so far, it's been a pretty big success for their local store, which is great. And their local store was the Four Horsemen Comics and Game Store. So they've been doing an amazing job. And then Wolf Knight Coffee actually wants to do something similar down here for us. We're working on the details. I haven't forgot about you, Blaze. I promise you. It's definitely on my list. It's just there's a lot on my list to deal with, and we're gonna try and get some time in the next couple of weeks to really get that in place and get together with you so we can, figure out the details that we can run something similar. So I haven't forgotten, I promise. So Max, you got anything you would like to announce?
The only thing I can think of is for the members, our upcoming GM workshop is this Wednesday. We're gonna do some kind of like surface level intro to world building discussion. So if you're someone that likes to do homebrews instead of modules, definitely be worth swinging by, checking it out, and throwing some questions out there.
Absolutely. And then also, just a reminder, like I'm going to say it every week until it happens, but we are going to Gen Con. We do have a ongoing fundraising campaign to support us going to Gen Con. Everything is already covered, like paid and taken care of. It's just whatever money we raise is going to be utilized to reimburse people who have pitched in who are going. So that way we can kind of alleviate any out-of-pocket expenses that they may have. So if you know anyone who would like to support our cause to go to Gen Con, we will gladly welcome any donations or just word of mouth passing it on to let people know that we're going, and we'll go from there. But yeah, last we looked, it was about halfway. It probably hasn't moved at all because, in all honesty, we have not promoted it as much as we should. But there's the little thermometer basically saying, "Yep, we're at $1,635 out of 3,000." Um,
That does not count any Zephy donations, correct?
it does not. This is a Zephy donation in particular, but it's like the way Zephy is set up is each campaign is its own little thing. So this doesn't take into consideration like the challenge coin donation setup we have or any of
Okay.
the other ones we have. So yeah, definitely Wolf Knight will definitely reach out and get in touch. We have a couple of options we're toying with. A lot of people are throwing ideas at us, which is great, and we're taking them and we're keeping them all together in one consolidated area on our spreadsheet, and we're working towards trying to figure out how we're going to do a couple of them. Someone brought up a really good idea through was it Panera Bread? They do an event. We got to do a little more digging in that. It's interesting, but that essentially opened the floodgates because we found out that there are other places similar to Panera Bread that do something like that as well. So we've got a lot of like digging to do and research. So we are definitely working in that general direction of fundraising and things like that. A lot of our focus has been on the foundation aspect because we want to make sure that everything is solid. So when we pick up and start going, especially after Gen Con, we're just preparing for any overwhelming flood that might come. So
Let's hope.
hey,
I'm betting
Yes.
we get to Gen Con, we run tables, we do a couple seminars, people start hearing the name, betting it happens.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just within like the last couple of weeks, like we've had 4 chapters starting up, some of them already running. We've seen a lot of like growth with chapters we've already had. So we're on the up and up.
Yep.
So we're starting to see that that traction stick, and we're speeding into a more high tempo season, if you will. And a lot of that could just because summer's here, kids are out of school now. There's a lot of free time, so everyone's like, "I'm at home with the kids. Here, you guys go do arts and crafts. I'm gonna look online for something to do." And
Yeah.
Well,
it's
not
how
for
it works
nothing.
sometimes.
I've been a part of the organization a year in 6 days, 5 days, because I found us on Memorial Day last year.
Well, there you go. Happy anniversary, Corey. 1 year.
It's things like that it's
Absolutely. Any questions from anyone before we start our topic discussion on this study? Opening up now, before we get into this. Yeah, Corey, we still like you. Yeah.
I don't know. Like's pretty strong.
Hey, I bring crayons.
All right, then. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up so that we can show everybody this wonderful little study. This was provided to us by Jack at the Badana Group. He was planning on joining us tonight, like I said before. Unfortunately, he was not doing too hot. So, yeah, I know, Crystal, you probably had a dozen questions you would have loved to have thrown at him. I had a few myself. But
Yes.
only 7. Well, maybe what we can do is, if questions come up, I can taking it easy. I can take a database of those questions, and I can email them to him. And maybe next week I will do like a quick read session of the Q&A. So maybe that will help anyone who may have questions while this is going on. So, exploring the efficacy in cognitive behavior therapy and role-playing games of an intervention for adults with social anxiety. So I'll reserve. Max, what are your initial thoughts about this kind of study?
Going through and reading it, there's a couple, like they mention the severity of like social anxiety. Me being a prior first responder, like I heard that, I was like, that's all great, like, but what does a moderate to severe to, severe and above, what are their symptoms? Like, is it full on aversion of like going to the grocery store and like isolation? Are we just talking about someone who's quiet and reserved? Like, I would have liked to know some of the symptoms that kind of separated those categories, just so, to me, it felt like it'd be kind of a easier way of gauging it, rather than just kind of slapping the, light to moderate to severe kind of label on it, right? um it points out a couple things that I had questions about, but all, or I had, I wonder what the change would be from when the study was done at the time to like now, because spoiler, it happens during COVID. Um, but they do go back on later towards the conclusion and like mention that, like, hey, in the future, we'd like to do this with a different modality instead of it being, online, doing in person. So I thought it was a great article. It supports a lot of what we've seen, a lot of what we've been reading on kind of the use of TTRPGs, and just being able to kind of use it as a safe sandbox to play in and have conflict resolution and building, confidence, social skills, this whole toolbox that a lot of people might be, missing a tool here and there, or just don't have snap-on toolkit, right?
Yeah.
They're expanding skills.
Okay. Yeah, Crystal says she was looking at the social anxiety disorder and put it with her fear of failure.
That's absolutely part of it, I think.
Yeah. What about you, Corey? Anything to add?
Just Max, like you said, spoilers. This test was done during COVID. It was not written during COVID,
Right.
so they had to. Kudos to Jack and team for taking whatever violence switch they had to do.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Work. I could only fathom going through that huge crisis and still delivering a study like this.
Right.
Wow. That, and I just, it later in the article it states that we need to do more of these. And the more I read that line, the more my non-scientific self is like, okay, what do I got to do to get this person, and this person from these studies in the same room and say, let's make more of these studies?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like all three of us had very similar initial thoughts when it came to this kind of study. One thing that I did think about when I finished reading this is a while back we did a similar examination of a study on the two different groups for 1 week. Every session was 1 week, or every session
And the
was
every
every
other.
2 weeks, and it got me thinking about that while I was reading through this. And then one of the big things I noticed too was the fact that this is an every week online. So the levels of anxiety are being rated based off of that. And as we've said multiple times as we've gone through some of these things, is that there's a big difference between an online versus in person, and that online can be a barrier that protects somebody who has social anxiety. So,
Yep.
how much of a
That's mentioned
grading
in here.
scale are we getting?
And it would be cool if Jack and Bodhana Group go back and do it again and in person, and then do a comparison of the two studies afterwards.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
and
I had that thought reading it.
that
Can they pull that same test group
right.
and do it at
Or
the table?
even I mean, even if it was a different test group, I mean, yeah, you try to get as close as original, but I don't. There'd be
Oh, I
some
just like I said,
logistics.
in my heart, it was just, oh, that would be awesome. I
It
know
would
there's
be. It would be because
logistically, nah.
yeah, it would go back to support that. Like again, our mantra is like we want our stuff to be in person because
Mhm.
it would give more concrete support to what we feel right is the better medium.
Yep. All right. So, as we go through this, one thing that I would really like to stress is we're not going to read the entire study. I think that that would be painful for everybody. So, um, as we go through and kind of talk about each section, we're going to just kind of give our little bit of insight that we we thought about when we were reading this. And by all means, feel free to chime in with your own little thoughts. So I'm going to read the abstract. Pardon me. So, tabletop role-playing games have increased in popularity as a hobby and allows multiple people to play together online or in person. Group activities such as TTRPGs have been used to improve social skills and mental well-being, although there's qualitative and anecdotal studies and reports about the efficacy of the therapeutic application of TTRPGs. No related studies have employed quantitative measures or mental health screening tools. This study explored whether intentionally introduced cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, delivered through the medium of TTRPG groups could positively affect social skills, reduce anxiety symptoms and behaviors, and enhance the mental well being of participants. Data was collected from May 2020 to February 2021 using the social phobia inventory, generalized anxiety disorder, social skills inventory, and group satisfaction scale, and debriefs with participants. The study was completed virtually. All the groups showed an average decrease in self reported anxiety. One of the therapeutic tabletop role playing game groups decreased in self reported social anxiety, while the others remained the same. All of them showed improved social skill scores, and the participants were very satisfied with the overall group experience, thus suggesting that their needs were met. Hmm. You gotta get used to reading a lot again. All right, so basically, if you want like a dumbed down version of what they're talking about, so cognitive behavioral therapy. If you don't know what that is, it seeks to alter a behavior by challenging beliefs, assumptions, and thought patterns. So essentially, what they're doing is they're utilizing TTRPGs to use the cognitive behavioral therapy. So I think Jack gave us actually a really good example of this when he was on the show a while back, when he was working with some kids, and he
Yep.
had the one kid who was, you know, just being nasty to the other kids, and he role played it out in the session about and acted the way the kid did, and the kid had that like light bulb moment of, oh,
Mhm.
I've been doing that to everybody else.
Oh, that's what that feels like.
Yep.
Yep. So I thought that was a pretty good example when I was reading about CBT and Jack's example from the past. And then something I noticed in the introductory section, they do explain what CBT is in the introductory section, but I thought that this was an interesting little line. It says approximately 80% of those with social anxiety disorder do not receive treatment. I mean,
It's funny. I had that highlighted too.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Well,
like,
I have a family member that has some social anxiety stuff, and if we do anything much more than like Thanksgiving dinner, that's about the limit.
Yeah.
Huh.
And it's and it depends. Like she'll put the feelers out, like who's coming, because she knows
Wonderful.
they know that. Well, there's people that'll
Yep.
push buttons, and there's people that won't.
The one thing I was curious about, especially this statistic, is that 7% is I wanted to know, again, like the breakdown. How many of that included, mild cases, moderate cases, and severe? And to see kind of where the majority sat in.
Now, like with the mild to severe,
Mhm.
I have a couple people in my life that I can base it off of, but I didn't. So that as I'm reading the article, I'm using those as my landmarks
Right.
until you actually mentioned it as like, that's only a couple people I have for landmarks, because I am obviously nowhere even close to the mild side. I
Yeah.
put it all out there and have fun with it. But I've seen family members, that even just amongst family are
Still have it.
struggle with it.
Yeah.
so that would probably be more on the extreme side if they're having difficulty even with their own family members.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I
But,
guess it's like
yeah.
varying degrees based off of what they find acceptable to, work like what condition they're acceptable working in.
But until this article, they were on the extreme end on my slider scale. Later
Okay.
in the article, it states there was two people
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
that
think it was
would
like
have
2, maybe
never
3.
even done this if it was at a table.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that too.
So it definitely, Max, I'm on board. I want to know what those definitions are.
Yeah.
It's like what is it? Starship Troopers. Would you like to know more? Like,
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I would.
Yes.
all right. And then another spot that I saw in this introduction talks about the theory. And I thought this was interesting. You snicker. Did you have this highlighted too?
I had it highlighted too.
Well, why don't you talk about it, Max? Go for it.
So they mentioned that the theory of it, they basically took CBT and then combined it with what we kind of already know, TTRPGs. The foundation of it is like that safe sandbox, right? And being able to explore all these multifaceted situations with inputs and outputs and conflict resolution. Um, and then how it all basically functions in a low impact environment to us, right? Like you can have something absolutely horrendous happen, but there's no real world complications from it. And being able to kind of like later on in the article, there's a great way that they present it, but being able to kind of package it all up in a nice neat little bow and then have everybody take a stop and be like, okay, cool, what just happened? What did you encounter? What did you do? What was the outcome? What do you feel, or how do you feel about that? And what does it make you think, right? Being able to basically kind of just use it as like an analytical input for them to look at these different behavior issues. It, like I said, I think it was a great application for something like this.
Yeah. You hit it pretty much identical to what I was thinking. So, Crystal says, in the same sense, this is what we are used to, our norm, and we surround by others who are in the same boat, share the norm. So when you find others that don't have any of this happening, they are the odd ones out. Their norms make them the weird to us ones. Yeah. Like that kind of goes to that whole, we lean on the dark humor, right?
Yeah.
We understand it.
Yeah.
We get it. They might not. Okay. Corey, anything to add? I don't want to leave you out.
No, you guys hit the nail right on the head.
Curious to know how many we all three highlighted the same.
There's
some overlap here. I'm saying it already.
I mean, what's the phrase? Great minds think alike. I did want to point this out. So they do touch a little bit here on like treatment elements of the CBT model, and they talk about social anxiety, and how what those treatment elements are. So those treatment elements are psychoeducation, cognitive restructuring, graded
Bless you.
exposure to social situations, working on core beliefs, and relapse prevention. So basically that's like the what is it, the nuts and bolts of what they utilize when they're talking about using the CBT model for social anxiety. So that's their tools that they're going to utilize basically. You guys have anything else you would like to cover in the introduction section?
no.
We already covered that it was done during the pandemic, so you don't really need to go much further into details. Methods. All right. Who wants to take methods? Anything in methods for you guys?
So I had something towards, I think it was, I actually got a couple things. Looks like towards the middle. I don't have anything starting out. Did you, Corey?
No.
Okay.
I had to reread this one, and I probably need to go back and reread the methods again.
Right.
That was one of my questions for Jack. How many times does he actually have to read an article? Or is it just my slow self that needs to read it a dozen times to get it?
Well, I mean, this is his wheelhouse, so like he lives and breathes by this stuff, so it's only natural to him to go through and read these, and he probably is immediately
Understands
like
all of it.
connecting all the dots and all that stuff.
I was hoping he'd say, "Oh yeah, I got to read them all at least twice just to make this way I feel better."
I do like that they, broke down the sample size. We've had 25. It was split up 12 men, 13 women. They gave the average range for age, which was cool for me because I'm like just a small deviation off the average, like being an older guy.
Small deviation must be nice.
Easy.
Comes
Okay.
Comes for us all, Corey.
You're among friends.
And then one of the things that I highlighted was just that paragraph after where they were kind of breaking out the like demographics. It mentions that in the second stage, they were asked to complete the social phobia inventory and were then grouped into pre-existing categories. Again, they mentioned just non to very mild, moderate, severe, and highly severe. Like categorically, okay, cool. That kind of breakdown makes sense, but again, kind of what symptoms are associated with those categories. Because I think for even just the average person, the bystander, on the outside looking in, that's what we would most commonly associate with is like the symptoms, right? And being able to be like, oh, well, where would I fit in, or do I fit into one of these?
Yeah.
I almost wanted to take this. I almost looked this test up. If I
Yeah.
had more time this week, I was going to take this just to see where I fell, because
I might even do it
I
after.
think I'm none, but watch me find out that I'm somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm somewhere in the middle. Not gonna beat around that bush at all. It's a common subject that comes up in my sessions that I have. So
Okay. Fair. That's fair. Yeah, I think I'll probably end up taking this afterwards sometime next week and kind of seeing where I'm at.
okay. All right. So I didn't have anything like you hit the things that I had highlighted again, Max. Good job. I didn't have anything highlighted after that until we got to measures, which they go into the social phobia inventory. So
Oh,
I, if you guys got anything, I am happy to stop.
Did you have anything, Corey?
I did.
Okay.
Go for it.
This isn't the first time kids on bikes has came up in studies.
No.
Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I think we need to find a GM.
I also highlighted that. That's funny.
Putting that out in the ether. Anybody that knows how to run kids on bikes, reach out to us.
From what Jack told me, the game is actually fairly simple to learn and run.
Well, and that was one of the things I like pointed out or wanted to highlight too, was like for using it as like a control as like the game system, and not wanting to have to worry about like alienating players or having people lost in rules. That was kind of when I read that, I was like, that's kudos for you guys. That's probably one of the better ones you could have picked to do a study like this, where it was just more role play, social interaction, very light on the rules.
Yeah, and I would almost say, because I think Jack told me at one point that branch riders is actually easier than kids on bikes.
So was branch riders before or after the study? Do we know?
After.
It was after?
Yeah, this just came out last year. So
gotcha.
I want to say he was. This study probably triggered a lot of branch riders.
Right.
Probably.
What I'm speaking half off of what I remember talking with him about, and half off my gut.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to measures then, boys.
One more thing.
All right, they did use their safety tools.
They did. Yeah, they did.
Tools, yes.
They did. That was mentioned in this part too. That big old Signal X. Put a big old stop if you don't like something.
Yeah. So they used X cards. So if you don't know what the X cards are, essentially, if something is being brought up while you're playing the game, if it's a scene that you want to basically like skip and put a halt on it, you just put up the X card, and that's the signal for the GM to go, yep, all right, moving on. I'm gonna go ahead and not do that anymore.
So it's shortly after that. It's that next paragraph. I also wanted to point this out because this was basically another point of validation for Jack and everybody else that ran the study, because they used external licensed therapists to go back and rewatch all the recordings and then do a scoring factor of their own. And they were able to take those scores and see if there was any major like deviation and what that actually meant. So that's another really good supporting data point for this study, and a lot of like what we've been saying, that TTRPGs have a role and can be purposed for therapeutics.
Absolutely. And I guess go ahead, Corey. I'm gonna finish my thought.
I was gonna say that, and in the same paragraph at the very end, this is the only study we've done where they actually call out that the participants were compensated. Whether they have been or have not been has never been stated,
That's a good
to
point.
the best of my knowledge.
Yep.
Just putting the clear front up for the folks that ran the study. Yes, we did do this.
Yeah. I don't think any other one, like you said, I don't think any of them have mentioned whether
They did or did not. Either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, thinking about that, no, I don't think they did. And like reiterating this thought that I had while we were talking about this. When Jack first came on the show, one of the things that we had a discussion about is the difference between therapy games and therapeutic games. And it's worth
Yeah.
noting that most of what this study does is it is showing a little bit of that difference, because one of them was a control group, as it showed previously in table 1, and then it split up the others into recreational and therapeutic. So therapeutic is not therapy. Therapeutic is like going fishing or reading a book or listening to music, things like that. That's therapeutic. So their focus is showing that over just doing therapy. So I thought that was worth pointing out as well for anyone who may not know the difference, because maybe they're new. All right. Anything else before we move on to measures?
Chat have anything? I don't.
I'm good.
Crystal, anything?
Not for us.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Never mind.
So I do want to point out real quick, because we're talking about the methods. I did write these little notes down because I had to go back and dig them out. Each session was one session per week online, and they were 90-minute sessions. So that kind of got me down a thought bubble of that I was going to ask Jack, is like, if they did any research on what would be an optimal length of time per session. How did they settle on the 90 minutes?
I thought that 90 minutes seemed short to me.
Yeah. Because we
But
think
if-
about our games and like they run for 3, 4,
4
5,
hours.
6 hours,
Yeah.
you know? So I was curious about that.
Yeah, how can you cover every player, every character, and a couple of NPCs in 90 minutes? That sounded I know I'm new to this side, but that sounded real tough to me.
Well, and to that point, maybe a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're using kids on bikes and not something like D&D.
Where it's
statement.
rule.
Fair statement.
Yeah, that could
I mean,
be.
you look at, like, you think back to our one shot of Branch Riders, right? And how fluid that went.
It was fun.
And
Yep.
then like just the way that he was able to transition on the spot to basically keep us on track, even though I kind of sabotaged the trajectory we were going.
Yeah.
So there's probably a lot of that based off of how the system is run. So just something to think about. All right. Crystal says all groups showed drops in generalized anxiety and social skills, improved noticeably across the therapeutic and even recreational TTRPG groups. But the intensive therapeutic group, which is group 1, didn't show the same drop in social anxiety scores, which is the SPIN 17, which we're going to talk about here in a second, as some others. What's your take on why that happened, and what does it teach us about the pacing or intensity of therapeutic TTRPG work? That's a Jack question, isn't it, Crystal?
Wow.
Yeah.
'Cause I am going to tell you, I don't know.
Yep, it was.
I mean, I have my opinions, but I'm sure they're probably dead wrong when you put Jack sitting next to me.
Right. All right, so
That
let's
was
get
easy.
into this spin 17 that was the easy one.
Yeah, literally what I was mumbling.
Maybe Jack was scared to come on tonight. That's why he's not here.
Right?
He's like, Crystal's gonna be there. I'm not ready for these questions. No, he would have loved to have been on. He loves coming on and working with us.
I just say Crystal's like his best buddy.
I know. All right, so we're gonna get into the spin 17. So spin stands for social phobia inventory. That's the abbreviation for spin. And then the 17 is the 17 items covering the domains of fear, avoidance, psychological arousal, and sound psychometric properties. So basically, there are 17 categories. Like this is that questionnaire that Corey and Max are probably going to take, and I'll probably take it just to, be right there alongside them, and maybe we'll share it next week. But so there's 17 items that are covered based off of the demographics of these particular things, and that's how they would categorize them by the none, mild, moderate, severe
Interesting. Okay.
range. So that's how they're getting those variations from the people. Definitely someone I'd like to have coffee with. Yeah. Someday, Crystal, we'll make it happen someday. He would love to do something in person. He has said that so many times. Oh, Crystal just purchased Kids on Bike, huh?
Yes, one I don't have to buy.
At this rate, we're all going to end up like Chris and have hundreds of books.
Oh, yeah.
Don't remind me. So based off of that, that's how they got their block randomization as they would. So they categorized all of them based off of that. Other than that, that's about the only thing I wanted to point out in the measures. Do you guys have anything?
Not there, no.
I do like it. Gentlemen, correct me if I interpreted this wrong, but they took the non and very mild folks and kind of left them in a group, and they took the ones that hit in the more severe categories and left them in their groups. Was that the interpretation I got out of this, or did I read that dead wrong?
Yeah, so it says right here in the second paragraph, it's like 3 participants who scored none, very mild, and 3 who had mild were selected for group 3. So they're
Okay.
being
There
they're
it is.
non-socially anxious.
I like how they respected the participants
Mhm.
to not put someone that lives in their shell at a table with someone like me.
Yeah. And it does say here that their control group consists mostly of the same individuals that were in group 4A, except
Mhm.
for one who could not continue in the group for personal reasons. So, of the 25 participants, it does state here towards the end that 2 of them did end up dropping out for personal reasons. So, that should give you an indicator on how severe their anxiety probably was.
Yeah.
But worth noting that they did try, even though they couldn't finish. It's okay. Understandable, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so anything else before we move on?
Not in that section.
Cookie.
Emotional support cookie.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes, it's always okay to stop and come back later. Probably not in a controlled study because they want consistency, but in other aspects, it's always okay. All right. Anything for the generalized anxiety disorder? So this is the GAD-7, which stands for generalized anxiety disorder.
That's the other test I want to take. I don't know why this one. I've thought it before, but this one really struck the nerve with every time I read those acronyms. It's like, I really want to know what this test is. I really want to know what the test is.
Yeah, it's like I leave the military and I think I'm going to be done with acronyms, and I just get involved with something that has even more acronyms.
Yes.
But so the GAD-7 is a modified brief evaluation tool that assesses generalized anxiety. It differentiates between various categories, between minimal, mild, moderate, severe symptoms, and is particularly useful in assessing symptom severity and monitoring changes over time. So this was probably, I want to make sure I'm not misspeaking, but this is how they were gauging the before and after, correct?
That's what I'm wondering. Thinking.
I imagine Jack does have these tests, so maybe I'll shoot him an email and be like, "Hey, Jack, for funsies, can we have these tests so we can see where we would fall? We could fill them out, and I can give them back to him, and he can do the." He could tell us.
Could you imagine if we had the tracker one from when we started this project up until now?
Oh.
Could you imagine the ups and downs and swings the three of us would have?
Well, here's an idea. Since all three of us are going to Gen Con, why don't we do one
before and after?
and after?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Oh, Crystal takes the test too. Perfect. We could turn this into a control group. Let's get Chris and Tommy. We'll get anyone who's going to Gen Con involved. How about that?
I may or may not have found the test. I'm gonna have to verify this for GAD-7.
Like it. The test and the cookie. The cookie's good too.
Appreciate the clarifying statement there.
Well, I took a bite of the cookie while you said that.
Yeah.
Okay, so while Max is looking for that, I mean, you guys had anything else you'd like to add to that? It's pretty self-explanatory, so I just wanted to...
Yeah, that one was...
Yeah, not for that section.
Okay. So then the next section. So all these things that we're talking about right now, these are basically all the tools that they're utilizing to measure their charts that we'll show here in a bit. So the social skills inventory, this is both the verbal, which is the social, and then the nonverbal, which is the emotional communication skills connected with social competence. I think Max is looking for it right now. So if he's got it, maybe he can put that in the chat for anyone who's curious about the GAD-7 test.
Yeah.
Well, the SSI assessments were, once again, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what they used when they watched the videos.
Correct. Yeah, they do talk about that.
This wasn't the participants doing this. This was their two third-party folks taking a look.
Yeah, so it says here, right here, this says measures the solid psychometric properties, which is a good test, retest reliability, internal consistency, and convergent and divergent validity. So, to what you're saying, Corey, yes, it's even right here.
It's right there. Duh.
Independent hired external licensed therapists watch session recordings separately and completed a modified version of the SSI for the first, 6th, and 12th sessions. The tool was modified for behaviors that could not be rated due to the online nature of the study. Oh, Max found one. Let's
Yeah,
take a look, shall we?
it looks interesting. I'd want to run that by Jack just to see if that's something that they
If
use.
we're even on the right path.
Yeah, if it's on the right path trajectory. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm probably put my numbers down after this.
All right, so it says, ask the patient how often have they been bothered by the following over the past weeks: feeling nervous, anxious, or on edge,
Nope.
not
You guys
being
can do
able
me.
to
Nope.
stop or control. Okay, so not at all. Not being able to stop or control worrying.
I had probably in 2 weeks. I'd say I had 3 days.
So several days.
I had the system give me hell.
All right, so several days. Worrying too much about different things.
No, it was one thing.
Okay, one thing.
Yeah,
Trouble relaxing, Corey?
Yeah.
How many days?
In the last 2 weeks, way more than half.
More than half the days, all right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say every day, but more than half.
Okay. Being so restless that it's hard to sit still.
Yeah. I got pinned in with a lot of driving, definitely more than half. And I know one day I was just fidgeting in the seat driving.
All right. Becoming easily annoyed or irritable.
Like how we're all taking
Not
this
really.
Okay, not at all.
I mean, I was irritable. I was annoyed with a robot that I can't, like, the problem was eluding me. So I would go with not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
Yeah, not at all.
All right. Feeling afraid as if something awful might happen.
Nah.
Not at all. Okay. Ask the patient, how difficult have these problems made it to do work, take care of things at home, or get along with other people? Not at all, somewhat difficult, very difficult, extremely difficult.
I don't want to say somewhat difficult, but I don't want to say not at all either. I wish there was a couple more layers to that scale. I wish it was a scale of 1 to 10, not 1 to 4.
Okay. Well, why don't we go on the high side and just say somewhat difficult?
Sure.
All right. Next steps.
Hey, well, you got the same score I did.
Mild anxiety disorder, Corey.
I would not have.
The patient is somewhat having difficulty with life tasks due to their symptoms.
I mean, driving was a thorough pain in the butt.
Customs, yeah, I can imagine.
So,
God.
Crystal says she got a 15, so she's in the severe category. So active treatment probably warranted, Crystal. But Corey is in the monitor section. Right here. I don't even have to take the test. I know I'm right here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought I'd have scored that high, to be truthful.
Now, granted, that's just this one. We don't know if the one that they used is different. But
true.
Kind of gives you an idea on how the GAD-7 test works.
Yeah, that at least gives us a ranking for where that mild actually sits.
This is the right test, says Panther. Okay.
Hey, cool.
Oh, very
Appreciate
nice.
you.
Appreciate the clarification.
Yeah.
I mean,
not that you had to take it, but I appreciate you at least corroborating what we picked.
Absolutely.
I would have genuinely, I wouldn't have said I hit that high. Like a self-assessment, I would not have, until those questions were asked, I wouldn't have given myself a mild. I'd have given myself a none.
Well, I would take it back. Now, I rank myself a little higher just because of everything that's going on, but it definitely doesn't feel as severe as it should be now that I'm thinking about it.
Functional 15. Now, I do
Now,
want to
Max, I
point
get that.
out, I do want to point out that obviously this can fluctuate based off of current events in your life.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. The last 2 weeks have been. I've had a very interesting couple of weeks at work.
Yep. See, Panther just confirmed what I said. The doc explained to me that it fluctuates a lot. I can see that too.
Yeah, I feel like I should be much higher than a 5, actually.
Give me this in 3 weeks. I, barring crazy outside circumstances, being an EMT, I bet you I'll score a lot lower.
Okay. Wait until Gen Con, yes.
Yeah.
That's totally separate conversation.
And Max, just so you know, I'd rate you at about an 8.
Yeah.
That was neat.
I don't know. I almost feel like it should be higher than that too, though.
Well, if I'm ranking it off of a 1 out of 10, you're an 8.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that makes more sense.
All right.
Wow, we took that train off, didn't we?
Yes, we did. So Panther says they usually give them a month or so apart at least. It's not super serious until
Good to
you
know.
are scoring high multiple tests in a row.
Good to know.
Yep. All right then. The satisfaction scale. So this is the abbreviation for this is GRSS, Group Relational Satisfaction Scale. In therapy for a reason, yeah. Yeah, therapy is for everyone. That's a very true statement. So this satisfaction scale measured the mental well-being and group cohesiveness using the GRSS, a survey wherein respondents answer questions related to their feelings about group work, assertiveness, responsiveness, perceptions of feedback, and participants gave during the week satisfactions in work groups. I flipped over when I should have just scanned over. I have it printed, guys.
I thought I was going to be slick and have mine on the tablet. And before the show, I looked up at our screen, and just this glow coming up. It's like, no, we're going to save that for some spooky, scary session later.
Okay, I have a game
Sorry.
in mind for that. No.
Great.
Yeah, you do.
Such sights to show you. So yeah, that basically all this is basically checking how everyone is feeling, how each of the groups' dynamic cohesion is working, and how they feel about each aspect of it. Important in a role-playing game for sure, 100%.
Oh yeah.
But they basically they explained all that, and then they start getting into the results. Do you guys have anything you would like to add before we start talking about the results?
No.
Nope. All right, perfect.
Uh-oh, Max looks like he's thinking.
I am, but well, no, I'm good.
Okay.
By all means, share with the class.
I think it's actually what I wanted to bring up was actually in the results.
Okay. Fair enough. So here we go on to the results, and the first big line basically covers the premise of the study and what it showed. He just wants a cookie. I would love to give him a cookie.
I mean, true.
I will take a bite in your honor, though, Max. How about that?
I appreciate it.
All right. So it says all groups showed an average decrease in self-reported anxiety. And then there was a little bit of confusion here because I saw this next part where it says of the 30 participants, I'm like, wait a minute, you said 25. Where did these other 5 come from? And then Max pointed something out to me, that there was a delayed group that came in. So
Yes.
I was like, that makes sense now. Gotcha. So I was like highlighting this part, and I'm like, where did these other 5 people come from?
Which, in the point that I wanted to bring up, is in that the graph that follows that. But with what you just said, I wonder if there's a correlation in some of those spikes and drops on
Yeah,
whether it's that delayed group that came in.
yeah, no, by all means, talk about
So
the
like
GAD 7.
so like I mean, one of the things that we noticed was, or at least that I noticed, that there was, I think it was week 4. There's a like half of the groups showed a steady decline, and then the other half had a steady decline, but then had a sudden spike in week 4. And then it happened again. What did we say? It was week 8 where it did
4
something
and
similar.
10.
So I think it happened in week 8 as well. You had 2 groups that had a steady decline, and then there was a rapid spike for 2, and then again in 10. So we were curious on what happened on those particular event or those weeks, what the event was that triggered that spike.
Yeah, I almost want to, like, this was a question I had for Jack was, obviously he's going to remember this test. Was there bigger news? Was this when the new strand came out? Did any of that, like, what external sources were the participants dealing with when those spikes occurred?
So, an interesting thing that I thought about just now when you guys were bringing up the spikes. Do you guys know what the Tuckman stages of group development are? You guys ever heard of
No.
that?
Nope.
So, I the only reason I know about this is because of the Chiefs Academy. Thanks, Coast Guard. But the Tuckman stages of group development basically talks about there are 5 stages to a group's overall forming of a task. So they are forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. So
Congratulations, you remember them.
I'm proud of you.
I cheated. I looked it up.
You son of a.
I remembered the name. I remembered the name though.
I just looked it up as well.
But I'm wondering if maybe that has a factor in it. Maybe at those spikes, maybe the delayed group came in, but maybe there was an internal conflict within each group that was causing them to be in that storming phase.
Where they might have had, where they've kind of gotten accustomed to group dynamics, and then new person at the table, all of a sudden it reverts. Yeah. Could be.
And an interesting aspect of that that group development is that you can always fluctuate back and forth between them. So you can go from storming to norming and then back to storming. So like it's always a fluctuation until you get to the point where the task is complete, and then you dissolve the group, which is the adjourning section.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
interesting.
Something that popped in my head as we were discussing the spikes. All right.
Did you, Crystal? Did you jot those down for Jack's notes or questions?
That was a question I actually was going to ask him. Is like, were there any internal factors that were causing conflict within the groups?
I'd also be curious to know if it was just external stuff happening too. Because I mean, again,
that's honestly where my head went.
Yeah, I mean, this happened during COVID. We know a lot happened during that time frame, and I'm curious to know how much of the external bled over into this.
I mean, I did have a question I was going to ask Jack too, because the results basically talk about the decrease in their self-reported anxiety, how much of their anxiety was relieved because they had a platform to vent anything going on because of the pandemic.
And I
Yeah.
also wanted, I'm curious too, if they did it now, would the levels be as high or would they be lowered because some of that just built in anxiety and stress from everything that was going on it is lessened. I wouldn't say it's gone away for everybody, but it is significantly lessened for a lot of people. So I wonder
Right.
if just the baseline itself has gone down.
Yeah.
It's possible. I mean, it could have also gone up depending
Could
on.
have.
Look, it's everything that's happened between then and now.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to the next graph. So this is the scores for the Spin 17. And these are the graphs for the week by week. So you can see here the various groups are leveled out, and then it's got their ranges based off of little to no anxiety, mild anxiety, moderate, severe, and very severe. Um, Surprisingly, even like because they did have the 2, I'm surprised that they didn't end up higher in these graphs at the start. I mean, and then I'm wondering too if when those people dropped out, did they still include them at the start, or did they just remove their data completely?
Yeah, because it would be an incomplete data set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Like, questions would have been great to ask Jack.
Yeah. But
Pick his
yeah.
brain. But we get it.
Also understand needing to feel better. So don't blame them one bit.
No, not at all. Get well so, Jack. No, he's fine. He was having a rough day and he
Just
had to
run
tap
down.
out. Yeah.
That's fair.
We all have them. Yeah, Crystal, incomplete data set and higher risk of sampling errors. Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
So there are the spin scores for each group, and then they did their 4A, 4B groups. So this is the one that actually went 24 weeks. So you can see here on this graph that they have it stretched out, and it's a yellow line, weeks 1 through 12, and then 13 to 24, it's orange. So that's their control group. So they're showing the transition here. And then, like you pointed out, Max, the spikes. Week 10, there was a spike. And then in week 17, there was another spike. And then 20.
This was the graph that I was wondering what were the external forces, because if they were both 10 weeks in, okay, I can see that being the group dynamic. These were at 2 totally different
portions in the segment.
Portions, and
or places.
Yeah, it does say down here in the figure description, it says that the scores for Group 4A and Group 4B shows special spin 17 scores for the special group that had been delivered the control and then was delivered the treatment variable. The data in the graph illustrates a continued decrease in self-reported scores representing level of symptomology for social anxiety. Basically, as you can see, where they started versus where they ended, there was definitely a decline in their social anxiety. So it's just supporting the overall findings of the study, which is great, which is one of the things that Roll to Heal is trying to do with it. We want to, bring people together with community, reduce social anxiety and stress, and build that camaraderie. So, like, this just further supports what we're already talking about.
It's another nail in the coffin.
Not a coffin, I would say a dart. I would say a dart on the bullseye.
Okay, we'll do that. My bad.
Gotta be so dark, Max. Come on now. Another dice in the bag. I like that one, Crystal. That's good.
I like that.
I do like that one. Bit
I
of a
like
Very
that.
dice goblin.
Coin in the coffer. That's a good one too.
Shut up, chat. Making me look bad. Shut up.
See, you gotta be more positive, Max.
It was the first idiom I could think of.
I know. Just giving you a tough time. And to your point, we continue the other graphs. This is the GAD7 one, week by week for groups A and B. Again, the spikes. Like we see the spikes at week 7, 13, 16, and then again a trending up in week 22. And like what you said, Corey, when was this? What was happening during this time? Because
like the only spike that I can even closely explain away is from week 12 to 13. They went from hanging out watching Netflix to playing a game. That I can see. If you've never done this before, I can see that. Okay, I mean, they knew they were getting into it before that, but there's a switch there. There's going to be natural anxiety involved.
Yep.
Okay, so looking back at the abstract.
You're getting staticky, unfortunately.
No, don't tell me that.
You cleared up.
I cleared up?
Kinda.
We'll find out.
All right. So looking back at the abstract, it does say May 2020 was the start date of the data. Did y'all hear that?
Yes.
Okay. So we look at that. I would have to guess because every person who participated in this was also in the United States of America and in Pennsylvania. They do clarify that. I'm wondering if maybe some of this is external factors. Yep.
I didn't even put that together until you just now said that.
That's why I've been hounding on the external factors.
Especially a particular external factor that happens every 4 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
On top of a pandemic.
Top of a pandemic, yes. So that could be some of why those spikes are there. And then especially on this particular graph with group A, 4A and B, you're talking about beginning of the year. This particular week right here, this 19 to 20, this spot right here, this is the beginning of the year. This would be 2021. And then the steady increase before it decreases again.
Yeah. Interesting.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
That's why I had questions for Jack.
Fair statement, though. This is all speculation.
Yes.
I want to just put that out there.
Yeah.
Hey, I got it trimmed, Blaze. I don't know if you noticed it or not. It's definitely a lot shorter than when we talked in person.
Forcing the mic.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
At least it's not whiplash to the eye.
Oh my gosh, yes. I was telling the guys it was so long, my wife swatted it. And it actually was so long that it whipped me in my eye from the side. So yeah. It was long. Oh, John, okay. All right. Yeah, so a lot of the graphs they show a lot of the similar trends. Do you guys have anything you want to talk about with these other than the obvious spikes we keep pointing out?
That was it for me.
Okay.
Um,
So, Corey?
oh
Yeah,
no,
go
mine
for it.
was the next graph.
Next
Sorry.
graph? Boom. Here you go. Next graph. So this is the SSI score. So if you don't remember what the SSI was, that is the social skills inventory. So this is the one that the therapist watched the videos, the recordings, and did their assessments.
I want to know what happened. This is just my personal curiosity. What happened in that one group?
Week, yeah.
What
Week
happened in the
6.
middle of that one group?
So
I'm just curious. Was that the group that did they lose people? Is that the time frame they lost them? Everybody else slammed downwards, and these guys jumped up.
So this was their control.
Oh,
Oh,
static's
Mark.
bad.
Still bad.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You guys talk about trying to mess with it a little.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to see.
I reread that part a couple of times, and I couldn't find a good explanation to explain to me.
What I don't even see, because they split it up in and they told you what the abbreviations meant, but I don't see the NA. Because I know the ANX, anxiety therapy, and then I don't know, I forget what the NA abbreviation's for. But yeah, no, I mean, you're right, because the other three general, I mean, it's the pattern's downward trend, but you've got the one outlier that has that huge spike. And then it follows kind of the rest of the pattern with everybody else.
Yeah. I was just, like I said, I was just genuinely, what happened to that group was all my, because that's the, oh no, that's not the recreation group. That is
3. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Yeah. Which one that is.
anxiety in theater.
So the annex is anxiety therapy, is what the THER.
Okay.
I just, like I said, I'm forgetting what the NA, the precursor to all of that is.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, and it very well could be, with it being the Northeast, is that there could have been something in their locale that happened, which, I mean, like Blix was pointing out, I mean, it was the start of 2021, and there could have been a lot of external factors, and this could be just another
Yes, it could.
study that was catching all of that.
That was, and that's one of the reasons why I would love to see it. And I know that, like we talked about earlier, logistically it's impossible, but I would love to see this group again now,
the exact same, and repeat
without all that external gibberish. I mean, there's a whole new pile of external gibberish, but
Wolf Knight put a potential correlation with that. He said, wasn't that the time frame for the murder hornet locale? Which, if that's the case,
no, it was too cold in Pennsylvania for those.
If that was the case, I don't blame them. Not one bit.
That it was too cold that time of year.
Yeah, at the start of the year it would be, for sure. Because there's still be frost and all that.
I'm not very familiar with that area, but yeah, no, there'd still be snow.
Yeah,
on the ground.
Yeah. I don't think murder hornets take too kindly into snow.
No, I imagine not. That's why I like Buffalo.
Do I sound better?
Hey, yeah, you do.
All right, perfect. Actually, well, think about this though. Murder hornets. You're talking about the murder hornets, right? May is, start of summer, week 6. That would put you mid-June. No snow on the ground at that time.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Wonderful.
I don't
So
remember where they were, to be truthful.
possibly then. To which I respond, fair response.
Yes.
It's that followed by kill it with fire.
Yes, quite.
Indeed.
Indubitably. All right.
Oh,
Jeeves, get out the flamethrower.
Wow. Okay.
uh,
All right.
sorry, the meme with the little girl in the house that the spider
Oh,
was in
yeah.
burning
Oh,
down
yeah,
is just
yeah.
running through my head.
Absolutely. House
I
is
can
gone.
I can see you doing that, Max.
All right.
Murder
So,
hornets? No.
all right. So
Oh.
then this was the SSI for the group 4A and 4B. And it talks about, it's like these scores were obtained via external screeners. These were the therapists who watched the videos, who observed video of sessions utilizing a modified form of the social skill inventory. This group was administered the control condition and then one of the treatment condition variables for a total time of 24 weeks as opposed to a 12-week period. Data illustrates that the group showed a decrease in scores during the control, followed by a sharp increase in scores showing a decrease use of the pro-social skills. So that's where they're talking about that transition between week 12 and week 13. So that's why there's a spike. But even then, after that, it climbs a little higher before it goes back
down.
to that norm.
Yeah.
Well,
that
that little climb, not the steep one, but the slight one, how much of that is relearning the group of people you've just been hanging out with for 12 weeks?
You mean that storming?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
And
you
it's
thought you knew everybody off of their giggles and laughs and groans watching the show. And now you realize how dark and twisted one of them truly is now that they're allowed to freely play.
Mm-hmm.
Or how light and fluffy the quiet one turned out to be.
Yeah. Because I mean, there is something to be said about, just hanging out with your buds watching a show versus sitting at a table, especially something like a TTRPG, and playing with your buds. Because I know there's a comment in here that we're kind of coming up to here pretty soon. But like there's people I talk to that like I'll sit down and watch shows with, or like we'll go out for drinks after work, and I'll mention like what we do, and you explain the whole thing. You're like you sit down and you pretend you're somebody else. That's kind of silly, isn't it? I was like, that's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get those people that just can't get past that like initial buy-in and barrier of like, yeah, I'm here to play.
I mean, we have a guy like that at our table in Mesquite, and he literally told us like a couple months back that he just stopped caring that what people thought of him when he said that he was going to go play. He's like, I just don't care anymore.
Yep.
It's like, yep.
Until you've tried it, zip it.
Yeah. Don't knock it till you try it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly, Panther. I laugh about
I
that
build
all
fantasy football teams every year.
Yeah, but you also don't knock role-playing games. Yeah, the whole fantasy football teams thing. It's like, oh, you guys sit around and pretend to be something you're not. Like, yeah, but you sit around and pretend to build a football team to
Well, and I think
compete against other people.
there's some similarity with it, but I also think there's also a big difference between the two of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the people that do that, I think it's a fear of lack of creativity.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So to what you're talking about, Max, the quotes, like these were a few of the reflections from people within the groups. The first one says, just getting into character or taking pretending seriously around other people makes me really uncomfortable. I was pushed into that zone pretty often with this game. And while I'm not sure I got better at it, it turned out okay, which is something.
That last part,
Win.
which is something.
Which is something.
Well, and I marked this down and kind of hinted at it. What we were discussing about is this somebody that just felt uncomfortable because it's a symptom of like adults who forgot how to play or how to be use their imagination, right? Because there's a lot that we do that is just naturally meant to kill off that kind of creativity, the imagination, and
Yeah.
all of that we would have as kids versus what we need to, deal with going to the grind, taking care of family, finances, like everything that an adult would normally do. I know, like I said, I've run in. That's my. It's not self-destruct for good. It's my
Okay.
dehumidifier telling me it's full.
I was like, which one of you two is okay?
No, it's not a monoxide alarm. We're good. We're good. And it's like I've asked like people that I've talked to outside the hobby, and I've kind of like run into a handful of them that they're not able to get past that. Like, oh, I feel silly at the table being, make believe and like trying to play out another character.
Yeah. I mean, it's the fear of the unknown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. Oh, we got some conversation happening in the chat. Let's see. Oh, Wolf Knight says just make a Blood Bowl league and let people bet money on it. Well, yeah,
I mean,
you're not wrong.
my feelings aren't hurt.
Found my new side gig. A whole gambling ring on it.
Panther says often people saying I never played D&D that's silly or nonsensical are ones who wear a jersey with another man's name on their back. And their week is completely ruined if their team loses. And to be fair, if my Texas Longhorns lose, I'm not okay until at least Tuesday. I feel that.
Try living in
Panther.
Buffalo, man. That's all I got. Try living in Buffalo.
Try being a try being a Browns fan. I know a ton of those.
I've seen how dedicated they are.
Oh, it's
the
a
whole
cult.
end zone. The whole end zone was the dog pound for how many years in Buffalo?
If you ever find a sports group that defines what a cult is, it's Browns fans.
Oh yeah, they put Buffalo fans to shame.
No wonder you need D&D for therapy.
Yeah.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but Wolf Knight, we've had that decent season many times in my lifetime.
It just never
and the
gets better.
Sabres had a decent season this year too.
But I liked that last quote too, where they said that I'm learning to feel comfortable while actively participating in a group conversations and adding my thoughts and opinions to group decisions. I have lots more work to do on this.
Yes.
And I like highlighted it, and it was just a point of like kudos for the person that made this comment, because being able to kind of like self-identify and reflect on that goes a long ways towards
oh, you're already 3/4 of the way there.
Yeah, like resolving whatever issue you have and getting better at it.
Yeah, you're well on that path.
Yeah.
Just the way that comment's worded.
Yep. Anything else before we move on?
No,
Not
sir.
here.
All right, cool. So they got this discussion section where they talk about social anxiety. We've kind of already covered a lot of that as we've gone through some of this, and we even did um the little I'm drawing a blank, the GAD-7 model test, which I thought that was kind of interesting that we did that.
I
I like how intuitive and quick it was.
right.
Um,
That's why I spoke up on the 7 because I knew there was only a
my
couple questions.
my little highlight section comes a little deeper into the social anxiety section. Do you guys have anything before I get to it?
Mine starts on like 13 and after.
All right,
Page
so
13 and after.
All right, so mine's on 15.
Okay.
I will go to 13 for you, Max.
Do you have anything before that, Corey?
No,
No? Okay.
What
I
you
got a sneaking suspicion we're on the same one.
So it is. It's like the second paragraph down on page 13 that they mentioned debrief occurred after a planned exposure to facilitate learning and growth. And then there was a discussion during the introduction and the end of each exposure session. So that was kind of like where I mentioned earlier, where there was a whole process to where they explained it, they presented the issue to them, they resolved it, and then they discussed it and put it in this kind of almost analytical process for them to look at it and be like, okay, this is what happened. We knew this is going to happen. Here's the issue we had. Here's how I felt during it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was a really good a good approach for kind of chipping away at like those barriers and those walls that a lot of people put up. And with TTRPGs being what they are, again, it's a sandbox. Like they got in there, they made a mess with it, and then afterwards there was no harm, no foul, and everybody got to learn from it.
Yeah, that was the same one I had. Just the fact that they went through all those phases.
Cool. All right. Anything on page 14?
Did you have anything, Corey?
No.
Just towards the end of the very first paragraph, after the anxiety or in anxiety symptoms and behaviors reduction,
Okay.
it's just another coin in the coffer, right, on what we have been harping on for so long, that although there was only really one group that received therapy with this, the entire thing showed that TTRPGs in general lead to an increase in social confidence, social skill practice, and excessive what they called excessive self-monitoring reduction. So it's a freaking sandbox to get in there, to play with, to make stuff happen and sharpen those skills, improve the skills, decrease the kind of stress load, and take that whistling teapot to maybe down to a low simmer.
Yep. Okay. Corey, you got anything to add to that?
No.
Max, good job on reiterating it. That's always worth noting every time. All right. So go on to page 15. So this is a spot that I wanted to point out, which I thought was
Mike, fix yourself again.
Yeah,
Sorry, buddy. While you're
Aesthetic's
doing that,
bad.
scroll back up to mental well-being. Second paragraph. There we go. The participants, where were we? The participants reportedly made repeated important therapeutic breakthroughs and observation in the therapeutic TTRPG groups and contributed to positive effects towards their well-being throughout the study. If that isn't proof in the pudding that that's what we're about. I just that line stuck to me pretty good.
Yeah, I totally, whatever reason I didn't catch that, but yeah, I mean it's again it's another another tally mark, right?
Yep.
+1 on everything that we've been saying on this.
All right, how's that?
Much better.
Better.
I think I have it narrowed down as what the problem is. I just got to find a way to keep it from doing it.
Uh-oh. Okay.
All right. This is a section I wanted to point out.
Perfect.
Participants reported looking forward to meeting each other each week while we were going through life hardships and yearned for debriefing their experience and struggles in and out of the game.
Yep.
So kind of to that point that I made earlier, it's like how much of this um, venting is through the participation of the role playing game, and how much of it is just giving them a platform to vent. You know?
Mhm.
It's that social network, building that group that you have a common interest that you can kind of erode those barriers away with. And then, I mean, Corey, I'm sure you'll have that light bulb moment when you start running more sessions. But Blix, how many sessions have you guys run where there's like people are hanging out 30, 45 minutes after and just BSing or like talking about real world stuff going on and like what they're looking forward to?
Yeah. I mean,
It's
we
like
do it all the time.
like every session just about.
I mean, we do it a lot beforehand because Chris is always late, but
Calling them out. All right.
but no, we do it a lot. Like
Yeah.
it is noticeable. Just the level. I mean, we had a very interesting session 2 weeks ago where we showed up to the store and the store was closed, and there was a note in there that says the store is closed until further notice. Check our Discord for details. And we were like, what happened? So we were trying to find a place to play. So we're all hanging out at the Subway next door, like, what are we gonna do, guys? And then one of the guys was like, well, you know, my complex has like a conference room that we can probably utilize. So we're like, all right, we'll go do that. And we ended up meeting up at his place and walking over only to find out that a birthday party had taken it over. And then we were like, ah, crap. So we're all hanging out in his place talking, got to meet his dog, and Chris is on the phone trying to find some place for us to play. Yes, that is the place that Salty got her Subway wrapper.
I love it.
But yeah, so we ended up finding a place, and like the entire time we're just talking and we're like shooting the shit,
Yeah.
talking about what's going on, and you know, what are we gonna like? The common question was like, what are we gonna do? It's like, well, we'll figure it out. But we did figure it out. But
You know
at
what?
least you guys
That
have a
is-
backup now.
yeah,
That is one thing with this community. You will find a way.
yep. Where there's a will,
Show
there's a
me the
way.
veteran, the first responder, or the nurse that won't figure it out. There's always going to be one.
Yeah.
But the other part is that I like is the next sentence.
Yep.
That some reported to wish that the group would not end.
Mm-hmm.
If that isn't building the camaraderie, building the team, it that's where that sense of unity is. I'm another question for Jack, whoever's taking notes. Did any of the groups continue on after?
Yeah.
I had that same question. Yeah, Corey, you're supposed to repeat what Crystal just said.
Say it with me, Corey. No, it's adapt, improvise, and overcome. She'll get it. She'll get it. I know the difference.
She learned it different era is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything you guys have beyond that? That was my last little thing.
I mean, we're like
I
right at the tail end of it, so no.
We are. We're
Yeah.
at the final moments. So I don't want to like just drag it out just to drag it out, but I do want to give people an opportunity to like give their own little insights on things that maybe have clicked with them as we've read some of this stuff, or share their own experiences or things that they've seen.
I did notice. Let me see if I can find it again
Sure.
while we're taking questions from chat.
So let me propose this question to anyone in chat who's willing to share. Have you had any moments that you've noticed somebody who is transitioned from being kind of shut off to um, more expressive and open over a period of time being part of your role playing group? Has anyone ever seen that? Corey or Max? Feel free to chime in as well.
Yeah, GM I had. He was he was a quiet little church mouse, and we were in one of our trainings for the Marine Corps, and we were playing Star Wars. He had thoroughly enjoyed it to the point that he went out, bought the game, rounded up, I don't know, 4 or 5 of us depending on the week, and he was the little church mouse literally hiding behind the GM screen. And by the time he was done, by the time we had moved on, he was he was out. We pulled that kid out of a shell.
That's awesome.
With him, he pulled himself out of the shell. Let me
Yeah.
rephrase that. But
He
yeah,
just-
that was
He found a group that he felt comfortable doing it with.
yep. And it was so. Of course, you're amongst a bunch of 17, 18, 19-year-old Marines fresh out of boot camp, trying to bring up role playing.
Yep.
That kid's got balls, because I don't think I'd have done it.
Like if you would have asked
You know
me,
what I mean?
if you would have asked me to talk about this stuff at my firehouse, I'd have been like, no way in hell.
But
Like,
could you
they-
imagine being in C school or B school and bringing? I mean, these are take any 2-3 Marines standing around, and they'll go take over a country. They're
Yeah.
fresh out of boot camp.
Like the guys I worked at the firehouse looked down upon you if you played video games, let alone like anything to this caliber. It would have been like, oh, you're one of those people.
You know, Max, like 15, 20 years ago, I'd agree with you on that. Like there's been a huge transition shift on what people are like accepting as the
Mhm.
norm nowadays. And I mean, I remember like even like 2 years ago when I was active duty, there were people on the ship that I was on that were actively in unit D&D groups playing underway. So like, and like they'd be doing it on the mess deck in front of everybody, and everyone would walk by and they'd be like, what are you guys doing? They're like, oh, we're playing D&D. And they're like, oh, cool. And they just walk off and do their thing.
Well, and to be fair, I think my situation is that it was still a lot of the old guard were
Yeah.
still in,
Yep.
and it wasn't the new wave, the new gen getting in there and being like, oh, cool, yeah, I'd do that too. You're like, oh, wait, what? We just become best friends? Quite cool. We'll talk on shift.
Yeah.
Well, no, Max, to your point, the old guard in the firehouse, they're still there.
It's a
They're
different breed.
not nearly as prevalent as they used to be, and the ones that are still there are a lot more accepting. They've seen the changes,
Mm-hmm.
So what's one more change? I know I had back in January, I had gone back to my old firehouse for an installation dinner. I was invited for their installation dinner, and I had brought up Roll the Heel to a bunch of different people. And one of the old heads, like he was probably this gray when I was a kid. He, Corey, what are you talking about? Come here, explain the group.
Yeah.
And I get to explaining it, and he's like, "That's freaking awesome." I was like, "You play these games?" He goes, "I've never even heard of this shit till just now." He
Yeah.
goes, "But he goes, I get the premise of sitting at the table." And his comparison was euchre night.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Wolf Knight says that that was actually him, and he's not a very expressive individual up front, but once he got past a point, I became very expressive. Yep. Yeah, it's like, comfortable, getting that comfortable environment. You know people. I mean, I'm very similar in that aspect. It may not show, like especially after like when we met, but like I bottle up things that I'm like, you know, questioning myself. It's like, why am I here? Why am I doing this kind of stuff? Because like the cause is that important to me that I'm willing to push that down to push it. But in an environment before this where I was like that, I would be that person sitting at the back against the wall, back to the wall, not really saying much of anything,
You did
watching
that when
everybody.
you did that in the session I was in. I
Yep.
was, and this is obviously it comes from our interactions here. You were way more quiet, way. I use withdrawn, and that is absolutely the wrong word to use. But you weren't nearly as outspoken as I was expecting. Oh, what I
my
miss?
my environment my environment had been tainted.
Outsiders invaded.
But no, I mean, yeah, that's to the point. And then Panther says he's like, we're living in a very digital age. We often don't see the people we talk to in messages, texts, or calls. Even though this was a online virtual tabletop study, I'm betting they saw each other through Zoom or
Yep.
Discord, just seeing
Yes.
other people, especially during a stressful time. And the ability to connect with a real person is so important to mental health. 100%. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And like that kind of goes into like the argument of the online versus in person that we constantly get asked. And while the online it it's accessible and the tools are there for that, face to face interaction, yes.
And it
um
did suit its purpose while it was there.
and it did suit its
Yeah,
purpose,
there's
correct.
time and place for it. Absolutely.
Yeah, but there are things that should be pointed out that online will never be able to pick up that in person can. Something along the lines of body language is a good example.
How often
Um,
I fidget with my little can
uh-huh.
every time we're on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like how much are you actually seeing of the person other than here, right? There could be things going on that you're not seeing. Um, and it could be so many different factors, and that kind of leans into why it's so important to be in person. Um, because uh, what's the best way to put this? We want people um, to be comfortable within their groups, but we don't want you to be so comfortable with that you never leave your house, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the whole advocate for in person over online. It's not to say that it's not good and it doesn't help. It's just that what we're trying to accomplish, we see more benefits with the in person.
Yep.
And then Crystal kind of chimes in. He's like, one newer guy was quiet, wasn't sure if it was because he didn't know anyone or something else. He has a service dog, but we don't ask. But if they want to share, we'll listen. Now this guy is all in the games going, I think this or that. So he's, invested. Yeah.
Panther brings up a really, really good point, and a lot of times of what we talk about with these different studies is like sense of community, right? So he said that, and that's what D&D is at its core, a place where you can go and explore different places, themes, and situations with friends. That's what most vets miss when they leave the service, and TTRPGs can give that sense of community again.
Yes.
It's what book did we read that this talked about that we've said 100,000 times by now? Yeah, that one.
Tribe by Sebastian Younger.
Yeah,
Great read, everybody.
Finding your tribe, finding your people.
Yep.
It's what it's all about. Getting in there and just doing it.
Absolutely. And then Wolf Knight said the unit he was with was full of gamers, had a campaign or two during deployment, but harder stateside. Yeah, I mean, stateside, I noticed it too, even in the Coast Guard. When you're underway, like it's the entire unit. You guys see each other every day, and then we got back home in home port, and it's like you hardly ever see anyone. It's like everyone just wants to be home with their families and
Yep.
with their own devices. So, yeah, I definitely understand that. Yeah, Crystal can't see leg twitching, hands fidgeting. Yes, you are 100% correct. That body language.
Stop calling me out, Crystal.
I mean, and
Hey, at least I got rid of my other fidget.
I mean, I got one that my wife gave me. It's literally just like a little ball that spin. That's all it is. But Chris has actually said this before. It
Sorry, Mike.
no. But I mean, Chris has said this in the past before that he he like the in person is another like way to buddy check somebody. If somebody doesn't show up repeatedly week after week, he has said that he'd rather pay for the hinges and kick down your door to have it replaced than find out that you went a step too far. So that kind of gives you the
Literally,
devotion.
literally dealing with that right now with one of my players.
Yeah.
So I get it. Yep.
Yeah, we have actually had to call to do a buddy check on somebody in the past. So it does happen, and that kind of leans into the importance of the in person. So food for thought, everyone's entitled to their opinion. It's just we have a stance that we want to make sure we're doing the absolute most we can to look out for one another.
Yep.
Knowing that I know there is a guy like that, I know I am okay. Yes. Okay. Man, 2 hours went by quick, guys.
Yeah.
This one did, yeah.
One thing I wanted to point out is I noticed that I believe it's Bowman is one of the authors for another study, but we have constantly seen that name referenced.
She's also got a book. Sarah Lynn Bowman is her name.
Yeah.
And her book is the other one that Chris recommended called The Functions of Role-Playing Games.
Okay, perfect.
This one's a lot lighter than the one you just got, Max. So
yeah, that's 20, like 8 or 29 chapters, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Woof.
This
yeah,
one
but
actually...
you got to put that into perspective because Tribe was only what 4 chapters.
Well, I mean, yeah, but they were lengthier too, though. I don't think
yes, they were
a standard like book chapter.
And you can't audiobook this one. Sorry, guys. You're going to have to
actually
read it.
Probably have to pick that up.
But this one kind of does cover things similar to the study we just read. It talks about the character development and the social experimentation and creating that community and problem solving and things like that. So It is a very good read. I actually need to reread it because um, I've been reading so many books lately and studies that I need to make sure I maintain some knowledge on these books that I'm pushing out. So, all right. So the books. Oh, Crystal's on it. Thank you, Crystal. And then the second one, if she's got that one too. If not, I will do it. Let's see if she's faster than me. Go.
Remember, don't lock your knees and breathe.
Boom. There you go. So that's the second
Perfect.
book, The Functions of Role-Playing Games by Sarah Lynn Bowman.
That's the one I wanted to look up.
Yep. So those are the two books. Chris actually has read them, and he recommended that anyone who's interested in learning more on the concept and the stances that we are pushing for Roll to Heal, like those are very good examples, especially Tribe. Tribe is a fantastic example.
Just gonna buy it right now.
But yeah.
Ta-da!
Turn this back on. Look at that pretty little splash of our wonderful Phoenix Nova.
It'll get here tomorrow. Today.
Hooray. I mean, Wolf Knight, you can do like our social media manager does and have, her spouse read the book to her. So
Yeah, good
Yeah,
luck.
right?
Good luck. I'd have to suffer and accept romance novels. That'd be about the only way I'd get read to.
would they have sparkly vampires?
But no. Thankfully, no. Oh my god. Although some of the books I've been told about are definitely not appropriate for air.
I know what you mean.
I'll just say that.
All right. Final thoughts, Corey, Max?
It
Touched pretty much all of it.
Yeah. It's just another +1 to everything we've hit on.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of anything standing out of what we've already pretty much talked about nonstop, and it's just a reoccurring theme. Which, it's never awful to just repeat what's being said. I mean, at some point, it's gonna get a little redundant, but that's kind of part of the reason we're doing this podcast is to raise awareness on these particular issues because like we've said in multiple instances, there are not a lot of these studies out there right now. So the more awareness it gains, the more studies could be done that maybe could lead to more extensive ones to help us with things down the road, like finding that sweet spot on how often should your game meet? Once a week, twice a week? How long should the game bet sessions be? 90 minutes, 2, 3, 4 hours? Like what's the sweet spot? What are people seeing that is having the best impact? There's all that kind of stuff.
Wouldn't that be something?
I've already said I would love to be a fly on the wall to be an observer on some of these studies.
Crystal, I genuinely think it'll be less than that.
We shall see, right?
My gut's telling me somebody's going to catch one of these and ask our input.
Yeah.
3 years, man.
No,
Sounds like Chris.
Look at
pump the brakes, lady. Pump the brakes.
I'm just gonna take the example of Gen Con. 6 months ago, were we doing that this year?
Why you gotta be like this?
No, we weren't.
Oh, I know.
It is worth pointing out that there was an individual, and he is presenting again this year at Gen Con, who did do a presentation last year at Gen Con about the importance of role playing games with um,
Veterans,
veterans' mental health. So
which
we are
I,
hoping to touch base with him when we're there.
I'm going to that seminar. I believe
I was going to
Chris
say, I
is
think
and
we all
Crystal.
signed up.
Yeah. I know for sure those people are going.
No, I am too.
Yeah, we would love to do a peer-reviewed study, Wolf Knight. Chris he's a very big analytical guy, loves graphs and charts. So he's all about that kind of stuff.
The more the better.
Yeah. Something we're working on behind the scenes is we're working on a form that we're gonna like do something similar to like the GAD 7, where we get people's feedback on how their session is, how they're doing at that time, so we can see like a scale of progression on how their mental health is. Obviously, volunteer for sure, but if we can get more people to like give us that kind of um, qualitative or quantitative feedback, I think that will help out a lot with stuff like peer-reviewed papers. And then it can actually also help us when we submit for grants, because we're learning quickly that they like to see like that kind of outcome. So if we have solid evidence of that, it can go a long way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, so with that, just another friendly reminder: we do have the challenge coin up for donations. I think Crystal's already dumped the. Nope, maybe she can.
She got the links in.
She's got the links in there for our normal stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The challenge coin link, if Crystal still has it. If not, I can go fish it out. There it is. Thank you,
There
Crystal.
it is. On it.
So it's a simple it's labeled as a shop, but like it's just how it's set up in Zephy. But if you donate, the shipping is included, and I will get it out to you as soon as I can. And the that's for the challenge coin. Again, we are going to Gen Con, so we will be there. We are running one shots all weekend long. Max and myself are two of the GMs. Crystal's another, and then Chris is going to be one, and then our other Tommy will be running some as well. He ran Delta Green for us, if you're curious on his GM style.
Seats are going quick.
They are. We've already had
Yes, they
4
are.
sell out, so it's pretty wild to see. But if you want to stop by, we will have a table set up, so feel free to come say hi, talk with us. We would be happy to just have a conversation with people, because that's what these conventions are all about, is making those connections and finding people that want to be involved and help out if they so desire. And if not, just talking to people is always great, because it raises awareness on the cause. So there's that. And then, of course, Corey, would you like to give your spiel about the hotline?
Sure. So 988. Don't be afraid. If anybody needs it, if you feel like you're in trouble, if you feel like somebody you know or care about's in trouble, 988 is a suicide crisis lifeline. It's nationwide. It works just like 911. There's trained people on the other end of that phone. There is always someone on the other end of that phone. You can call, you can text. It's a tool. If it's needed, they're there.
Absolutely. Yeah. With that, Max, you got anything you'd like to end on?
Just a reminder, GM workshops this Wednesday. Like I said, we'll be touching on kind of an intro surface level into world building for anybody who would be interested in starting their own homebrew or building their own worlds or just learning how some of us go about it.
All right.
So yeah, join us there.
Yep. Perfect. Final little plug. Check out our website, rolltheheal.org. We have our Facebook group, Roll to Heal, and our YouTube channel, which is Roll to Heal Table Talk, which is I'll be posting the videos on there after. I still have not gotten to last week's session, so you'll probably see a simultaneous on both of them. I apologize, just this week has been mad, and I have been dealing with a lot of stuff. But I will get
Life's
it
life,
done.
brother.
Yep. With
Preaching to the
that-
choir.
What was
I get
Jack's
it.
famous quote?
I can do
how
this.
did- No. The hashtag thing. The hashtag thing. Oh, what did he? How did he put it? Not for profit life.
Oh,
Hashtag-
non-profit
yeah,
life.
yeah.
Hashtag non-profit life. That's right.
That's what it was.
All right. Again, thank you everybody for joining us. We'll join us on Discord, talk there. If you want to ask any questions, we're there. With that, good night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Evening.